With the upcoming Shurima expansion, the meta is going to shake up quite a bit. No wait, it's going to be shaken up a lot. But I wouldn't like it if the new cards couldn't shine because the old meta is so oppressive and strong. So I'm using this video to look at what nerfs and buffs should be taken into account when the new expansion is released, and basically try and make it as balanced as possible. Let's face it, we'd all be gutted if the new champions like Nasus and Renekton were released, just for discard aggro and fiora shen to still be dominating the meta. BomberTV analysed the cards with the highest win rates, or the highest popularity for the nerfs, whilst also taking into account the respective strengths of the archetypes in which the specific cards are being used. So without further ado, let's dive in. This is patch 2.3 preview predictions. Please remember to like and subscribe and turn on the bell notifications too. So let's dive in. This video has been done in collaboration with BomberTV. So I predict Twisted Fate will be nerfed and his blue card will be nerfed so it doesn't restore spell mana anymore. Twisted Fate is very difficult to balance, and Riot did a great job finding his initial numbers to fit him. I feel decreasing his health would make him unplayable, increasing his level condition would make him basically impossible to level up, and increasing his cost would also kill the card, so you don't really have too many options in areas where you can tweak, but he's still too strong at the moment with the amount of decks that are currently featuring him. A good direction to go in would change his support cards, and the only one I feel can be really tweaked is the blue card. I know that this change removes the attune synergies, but it isn't a proper attune synergy as it is, and we don't really have cards that really care about tuning yet. So let's face it, you use the blue card for the draw in, let's say, 90% of the use cases. Red card I feel would be too hard to nerf. You could maybe get rid of the 1 damage it does to the opposing Nexus, but then this gets rid of all the plunder synergy. For the yellow card I feel the stun is still needed, and only doing 1 damage instead of the 2 it currently does would be too weak. So therefore out of these 3 cards I feel the blue card is the only one we can truly focus on for the nerf. I guess it's a very minor nerf, but I feel it's minor enough needed to change Twisted Fate, and let's face it, it'd only be something small to kind of make a completely unplayable card. So I'd be interested to see what this nerf would do on the overall impact of him as a champion. I predict Aphelios will be nerfed so Calibrum, one of his moon weapons, will deal 2 damage instead of 3. We're seeing a lot of Aphelios being played at the moment, and there are 2 main reasons why this is likely to be the case. Number 1, he is a new champion and everyone wants to play him as a result. And number 2, he's actually quite competitive and his moon weapons offer many alternative routes to winning. Very simply, this new champion is shaking up the meta and he's probably going to become even more toxic as time goes on as players find new ways to abuse him. A lot of his value generation is because of Calibrum taking care of the enemy board whilst you're stabilising, and this is simply overwhelming the opponent with basically too much value generation. For now I wouldn't change anything else on this card, and basically see how things evolve in the future. I feel the stats on Aphelios are fair, the rest of his moon weapons are less balanced, and Aphelios' effect fits him nicely with his playstyle. So this is a very subtle nerf which I feel could still keep him competitive, but marginally lower his value generation from his moon weapons, specifically Calibrum. I predict Zap Sprayfin's cost will be nerfed from 4 to 5, so an increase in 1 mana. The ability to draw specific cards is always quite desirable, and it should come at a cost. Zap Sprayfin is simply too much value for its cost. You're getting a 2/2 elusive card, obviously worth 2 mana, and the ability to draw a card worth more than 2 mana, and obviously with its attune, a spell worth another 1 mana. So if you sum this up, it means you get basically more than 5 mana's worth of value, and you have to take into account that more things like it does the same card, the less other cards you need to draw for all those effects. So basically you're not having to get loads of cards to get these bits and bobs. It just basically also means that there should be a bit of a tax for this amount of value, and which is why I think there should be an increase in the mana cost. With all that said, 5 mana would still be great value, but it'll be a little bit more fairer. This is a particular problem, as we said, as it's very desirable 1 mana spells, and I'm of course talking about spells such as Go Hard, obviously attune directly giving that 1 extra mana, which basically where some decks like this have popped up. We are still debating if we should nerf the core of the problem, but since Zap has always been part of it, and also part of very strong strategies in the past as well, like Pirate Burn, we decided this first nerf of the auxiliary tool would be a very kind of good starting point. So it'd be interesting to see what the impact of this would be if it was to happen. I think House Spider will be nerfed and his stats will be changed from 2-2 to 2-1, so a nerf to his health by 1. Currently House Spider is being run in Spider Burn decks as well as many variations of Ezreal Draven, Ezreal Swain, Elise Aggro and Discard Aggro. It's basically way too flexible. As a natural Spider synergy card, it's also a wide summoner, both valuable in control decks to jump block and put on early presence on the board to compete against aggro. On top of this, it's also a valuable option in aggro strategies which like to go wide, like Discard Aggro. It also offers a way to trade 2 for 1, and in the 1-1 trading with their 1-drop, whilst the 2-2 trading with the 2-drop. Overall, this change would preserve most aspects of the card, but also make the unit a little bit more punchable by pings and AoEs, like Make It Rain and Unspeakable Horror. So this would tone down, I guess, what is not such an interesting card, by taking away the 2-drop slot and preventing much more interesting units and strategies see play on the 2-mana slot area. Even with this change, it would still be a great unit for wide dedicated strategies, or of course, spider themed decks. I predict Ritual of the Renewal will be reworked. Its change will be reduced from 7 to 6, the effect will be changed to heal 6 instead of 7, and it will draw 2 instead of 1, and speed will be changed from slow to fast. This card really never saw competitive play, and it's just bad compared to some of the other drawing or healing cards of a similar manner. For example, compare it to Progress Day, which draws 2 more cards and discounts them, so it actually costs even less and creates better value. Or how about Star Shaping, which almost heals the same and draws a Celestial, which most of the time is going to be more OP, and on top of that is a burst spell. I kind of think Riot completely forgot about this card. It came right out at the start of the beta and has basically been a victim of a slight power creep over time. Iona dominated the beta alongside Hecarim decks, and it's almost as if Riot are too scared to buff anything from this region, in case it leads to the region having basically too much dominance again. By the time you cast a spell in the late game, the amount of healing is basically negligible, so the value comes from drawing instead, so you get the cards you need. I'd be curious to think what you hear about this rework, because obviously there's quite a lot of changes proposed here. And there we go guys, what do you think to these predictions? I'm always interested to see what you think to these buffs, nerfs and reworks, and especially how they will go alongside the new Shurima expansion. As always, please leave your feedback in the comments, it's absolutely always welcome. What cards do you think need buffs and nerfs in patch 2.3? I would love to hear in the comments. Up next is best new decks for the Shurima expansion, and this video will have one deck for every new champion in this expansion, so you kind of know the decks you should be looking at when the expansion eventually goes live. I really hope to see you there. This analysis is done by BomberTV, a Masters tier player who does gameplays at Masters tier level and deck guides like this one. The link to his YouTube and Twitch channel is in the pinned comment or in the card above. I've recently set up an Instagram account, @LoreGuides, and I'll be doing a giveaway shortly. Please follow this account for see posts about new videos, and will be in a chance of winning this giveaway. Please remember to like and subscribe, and turn on bell notifications too. See you next time guys.